Hi everyone, James here. Welcome to another video, and here we are outside, rather surprisingly, well, it's almost October, and it's a lovely warm summer's day. You tell me. Got the dog with me here, Rosie. I think you can see her there on the trampoline behind me. So yeah, very appropriately for this particular video, we're out in the sunshine, lovely and happy. This is a contest entry for Steve Carlson. And hopefully you're all aware of his channel by now. Steve has been around on the VC for a fair while now, a few months, and he's a very genial, upbeat, happy kind of person. One of those people that, you know, whenever you see one of his videos popping up in your feed, you know you're going to have, you know, a pleasant half hour. Really, Steve's a great guy, and I couldn't resist doing this contest. Very interesting topic, talking about records that make you happy, which I thought was a very interesting idea, really. You know, happiness in music comes in all shapes and sizes. Originally I was going to talk about the records that meant a lot to me in my childhood, and but I kind of have spoken about these records before, and I didn't really want to go over old ground. But also, you know, happiness, it's a bit of a strange emotion, happiness, because I mean, what do we mean by happiness? You know, happiness almost implies just a feeling of complete well-being, you know, complete and utter well-being. And often I tend to find that records from my childhood or from my early days, you know, they're often tinged with a feeling of melancholy, that kind of nostalgic feeling you get when you think back to, say, your early childhood, and you start to become quite reflective, and you start to remember how good things used to be, and you can get a bit teary-eyed sometimes. I mean, this is a great example. London Town was one of the first records I ever owned myself. I used to listen to it in my bedroom, and I can't describe really now the almost sort of oceanic feeling of happiness and well-being that it seems to me in retrospect. It seems to me that that's what I experienced when I put this record on. I just used to sort of disappear into it, and it is a wonderful record in that sense. It's very, you know, it's one of McCartney's most melodious and gentle records. It's got the lovely kind of blue sky on the back and a wonderful poster with it. You know, it was a really immersive experience, and I decided not to go with that. I decided to, you know, for the 5 records that I've got for you today, you know, for the contest, I'm going to just run through some records that just bring me just a sense of completely unalloyed happiness and escapism, really. You know, where you can escape not just from your own problems and your own troubles, but you can even escape from that feeling of kind of rose-tinted nostalgia. When there's no need when you listen to this music to wallow in any kind of wistfulness or nostalgia for times gone by, and you don't end up regretting anything. It's just pure, you know, you just exist in a bubble of happiness. I was trying to think of a link between these records and what they all have in common, and the conclusion that I've come to is that, you know, the music that makes me happiest, in the sense of just feeling a really pure kind of crest of emotion, where you know, you cruise on it and there's no dark side to it at all, tends to be bands or artists who just, they create their own world completely, 1000% in their music. It's a kind of uncompromising, a totality of just their own identity. They just carve their own kind of world, and you get the feeling that inside that world they are really enjoying themselves. You know, they're really getting off on their own talent and their own vision. You know, George Clinton, Funkadelic and Parliament, I mean, it's party music, pure and simple. You know, I mean, this album, it's got One Nation Under a Groove on it, and it just goes on and on. It just feels so great. It's a bit like Stevie Wonder as well, you know, Songs in the Key of Life, that just ultra immersive, bubbly, effervescent. It's like champagne, but done as a record.
Here's a chance to dance our way out of our constriction. Gonna be freaking up and down the hang-up alleyway with a groove.
Dr. John, you know, another guy totally connected to the roots of his own culture and the roots of his own talent, making this joyous music. This is Gumbo. in the company of fantastic musicians who are totally plugged into that kind of party time New Orleans tradition. You know, you can't put this on and be in a bad mood. It just totally lifts you up. And this record, of course, it has all the fantastic kind of, you know, Mardi Gras derived rhythms, the kind of second line rhythms and the drum rhythms, and wonderful interplay between the musicians, and just that great kind of funky sound, you know.
Talk about it now, it now. I go on day.
Just like the George Clinton, I mean, not the same style of funk, but it's just got that thing again where, you know, you don't need to worry about anything. You put it on and all your worries just vanish. You know, you're in Dr. John's world, you're in George Clinton's world, and while that record is playing, you don't need to worry about any other crap that's going on. So, Gumbo, Dr. John. So a slight left turn. This record, Never Forever by Kate Bush, you know, I will bask in this. I'll put headphones on and just light a candle, and it's just so joyous. She is just in her own bubble. She has made her own world. She's thought it through. She knows what all the sounds are going to be. She's got all these great musicians working with her, you know. She's got this lovely fluid songwriting approach and these arrangements which just beckon you into her own little private world where you don't need to worry, you know, you're cocooned inside her vision of things.
Surely not with his soul. Will all of his licks and his R&B blow away? Blow away. Blow away.
And this is a record that I'll happily listen to, you know, twice in a row. I'll get to the end of it and I'll just want to go back and listen to it again, because you get to the end of it and then all of a sudden reality intrudes and you look around and you're like, oh God, you know, what's next on the agenda? I'd much rather listen to that again than you know, do my work or just do whatever needs doing next. So yeah, just pure sensual escapism. So this next one might raise an eyebrow, because as music you might not think this is kind of happy music, but this is Pink Flag by Wire, you know, English post-punk band, and after this album they kind of went into a more doomy sound. Chairs Missing and 154, you know, they became quite industrial and dark. But this record, I just love it. It just makes me happy. It's just the sound of some guys who have, again, they've totally invented their own rules. I mean, they were kind of, you know, they were art students. They had a sort of manifesto in a way. They drew up some rules for themselves that they were going to be kind of anti-rock, and they were not going to do any unnecessary gestures. And the songs were all going to be these kind of short, very, very taut, ironic songs where it was just down to the sheer kind of bare bones architecture of it, you know, no messing about. And I just love the humour of this record. I mean, there's so many songs, you know, and lots of them are just really short, just kind of short bursts of sound, and then they kind of stop. But occasionally you'll get longer tracks like Pink Flag, where the energy levels and just the kind of sonic onslaught of the guitars, it just makes you want to sort of holler and shout and just run around the room shrieking in unbridled joy, you know. And you really, what you hear is, you hear these guys who are not interested in commercialism or in trying to follow the herd, or, you know, they don't particularly care about selling records as such. They just want to make this incredible unique sound which only they can make, you know, nobody else can make it. So yeah, I mean, it's great art, isn't it, really, at the end of the day? I suppose that's what I'm talking about, you know, the ability of art to help us transcend and glimpse something, you know, of the eternal. So I'm going to finish just with a quick story, and again, it's just going to kind of illustrate, you know, what music can do. And this is a record, this is the Shadows 20 Golden Greats, you know. I was given this by my step-granddad when I think I was probably about 7 years old, I think it was in 1978 or maybe 1979. And you know, it was nothing to do with the music I was listening to. I was into pop music of the day, you know, the chart music that was around. But for some reason, he gave this to me. He said that I might enjoy it, and God, he was right, you know. And what this album really reminds me of is, I think it was autumn, and I'd got into the swing of listening to it after school every evening, and my parents lived at the end of this kind of little country lane, and the school was kind of here, and you walked along the country lane, and then you got to my parents' house, which was at the end of the lane. And you know, in the winter or the autumn, it was kind of dark, and the street lights would come on, and there were trees, and it was a kind of autumnal feel, you know, the leaves falling, and it was just really kind of that kind of cosy autumnal feeling. And I've just got really strong memories of, it might only have been over the course of a week or 2 weeks, but I got into this little swing of going home from school, going straight up to my room and putting on this record. And again, a bit like the London Town and, you know, the Wings, I can't really put it into words. The joy that I felt, it was just, I think because the tracks are instrumentals, you know, they all have these very evocative titles, you know, things like Genie with the Light Brown Lamp, and, you know, Man of Mystery, Apache, Atlantis, you know. For a child, it was very stimulating to the imagination. It was again, it was a world that you could just inhabit, and because there was no music, there was only these very intricately arranged guitar melodies. What I used to do is I used to sing my own words. I just used to make up words to these songs and kind of make little songs out of them for myself. And I just got endless joy out of this record, endless joy. I never really became a big Shadows fan or anything like that, but of all the records in my collection, this is one of the ones that I'm most fond of. Purely, I just have that mental snapshot, that period when I was running home from school every day, to put it on my little dancer, to listen to these strange tunes. I mean, I knew nothing about the Shadows at all, and just making up my own songs and just getting off on that feeling of openness and, you know, creativity, everything that we love about music. It just engages us. It gets us thinking. It gets us feeling. It gets us imagining things, and you know, that's what it's always done for me. So that's it. I think I've covered everything. I will take my leave and see you all soon. Have a great day, and I'm now going to go off and enjoy the late September sunshine. Take care, folks. Be happy.